There is a lot going on in our federal government right now, and it is incredibly disorienting and chaotic. And I think that is the goal, to flood the zone, to throw as much stuff at us as quickly as possible so that we cannot keep up. We don't feel informed, and we feel apathetic and exhausted and powerless to resist this administration that is currently waging war on the American people. I truly do believe that. I don't think that's hyperbolic. I think that Trump is actively waging war on Americans and doing so gleefully. And I find it to be absolutely disgusting. And I am tired. I'm pissed off. I don't want to be doing this. I want to be resting in my bed because I am sick and I've been sick for several weeks. And it's been really, really tough. But I feel compelled to talk about this every moment that I have the opportunity to do so. And it's because I see so many people that are uninformed and really don't know what's going on. They think everything is just normal. It's just a change of administration. And while people are just going about their lives, people coming to my comments and telling me, stop getting involved in politics, get back to your regular content. I have to tell you that I can't and I won't think of anything else but what is happening all around us. Because this is not politics. This is not about left versus right or our opinions on the economy. This is about a war that is being waged on the American people by the Trump administration and all of his loyalists in Congress. And if we don't pay attention and we don't keep talking about it and we don't raise some noise about it, it's going to take over very quickly and we're going to lose everything. While the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, the sick get sicker. On the night of February 25th, 2025, last night, as I'm recording this, the House of Representatives passed their 2025 budget resolution by a very narrow vote. The budget essentially guts Medicaid, takes healthcare away from millions of Americans, and gives tax breaks to the wealthy. Because for some reason, billionaires need more money. They need to take more of our tax dollars and allow it to fund these tax cuts for the rich. Meanwhile, Americans are going to go sick. I want to break this down and talk about it because I believe that Republicans, especially Republicans in Congress, are actively manipulating their constituents. They're lying to their voters and making them believe that they're just passing a budget. That's it. They're just trying to work on the budget. And they're hoping that they can just slide those tax cuts over to their billionaire buddies. According to an article on truthout.org, while some House Republicans have publicly and privately voiced concerns about the scale of the Medicaid cuts proposed in the budget resolution, GOP members of the Rules panel on Monday rejected Democratic amendments aimed at preventing cuts to the healthcare program as well as the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, and other spending. Analysis found that SNAP cuts proposed by the House GOP resolution would result in widespread harm, potentially taking benefits from more than 9 million low-income people in an average month. Deep SNAP cuts would worsen food insecurity, hurt local businesses, and weaken SNAP's ability to boost jobs in every state. SNAP is highly effective at reducing food insecurity and poverty, and research links SNAP participation to better health outcomes and lower healthcare costs. Regardless of how lawmakers impose $230 billion or more in cuts to SNAP, these cuts would make it harder for low-income families in every state to afford groceries, worsening food insecurity and hardship. Slashing low-income household grocery budgets would also reduce revenue for thousands of businesses in every state, with ripple effects throughout the entire food supply chain. House Republicans' plan for Medicaid, specifically their push to impose work requirements, could put 36 million Americans at risk of losing health care coverage. In this bill, Republicans are saying the quiet part out loud. Billionaires, big companies, and special interests not only deserve a tax break, but that it should be paid for by everyday American. What's really gross is that Republican leaders are feeding the public misleading information, and they're training their staff to do the same. And unless you are staying on top of everything, unless you are staying informed, you might fall for it when you call them. I called the office of Diana Harshbarger and the staff answered, and I let them know that I was very concerned and outraged over the fact that Diana voted in favor of this and that she wants to cut Medicaid for millions of Americans so that billionaires can have tax cuts. And his first response to me was, well, this doesn't say anything about Medicaid. The budget didn't have anything about Medicaid in it. And that is the response that they're giving everyone. And so that way, when people go and they look at the budget and they say, oh, well, yeah, it doesn't actually say anything about Medicaid, then people will be like, oh, wow, well, liberals are just acting crazy. They're just being hysterical and creating something out of nothing. And if I were uninformed, I might fall for that. And many others have fallen for it too. And it might make me feel silly for complaining, but I am informed and I know what's going on. And I know that the Democratic leaders repeatedly tried to amend this budget so that it would ensure that Medicaid would not be cut and that billionaires would not get these tax cuts, and every single Republican voted against it.
I want to take a couple of minutes to talk about how people voted in the Rules Committee last night. We gave Republicans a chance last night in the Rules Committee. We said if they really don't believe that this budget cuts funding for school meals, if they really believe what they're saying, then they can vote to assure the American people that they're not going to steal school meals from kids in order to give tax breaks for millionaires. Every Republican voted no, every single one of them. Then Democrats offered an amendment to protect Medicaid. And Medicaid, as you know, Mr. Speaker, covers 41% of all births in the United States, nearly half of children with special health care needs, and 5 in 8 nursing home residents. We asked them not to cut Medicaid in order to fund tax breaks for billionaires. Every Republican voted no. Then Democrats offered an amendment to extend tax cuts for people making under $400,000 while ensuring that corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. We asked Republicans to continue tax cuts for only those who need them the most, because those are the tax cuts they let expire while their tax cuts for greedy corporations were made permanent. We asked them to prioritize working families over greedy corporations. Every Republican voted no. Then Democrats offered an amendment preventing tax giveaways for people earning over $1 million a year. Every Republican voted no. We wanted to see if there was anyone so rich that Republicans don't think they deserve a tax giveaway. So we asked them to vote against tax breaks for people earning over $100 million per year. We asked them to side with factory workers and firefighters over hedge fund managers and billionaire bankers. Every Republican voted no. We even offered an amendment preventing tax cuts for people with a net worth of over, get this, $1 billion. Every Republican voted no. They betrayed their constituents. They voted to steal from the American people in order to protect tax breaks for billionaires.
So when the staff at Diana's office told me that Medicaid was not in this budget at all, I made sure to let him know that I am an informed citizen, and I know that Democrats provided multiple opportunities to amend this budget and to secure Medicaid and to get Republicans to agree that Medicaid would not be cut and that billionaires would not get tax cuts from this. And he had nothing to say. There was a nice long pause because, again, they're trying to trick constituents. They're trying to just brush them off, give them an answer that they think will suffice, and hope that enough people are not informed to actually push back on this. But I did. And he, basically just told me, oh, I'm not really sure about that. I don't know. I'll have to talk to her. I'll have to have her let you know. And so I told him, I've been calling for weeks. I have yet to receive a single email or call back from Diana. I have yet to receive any information from her staff, any answers to the questions that I've had for weeks, and that I should get some correspondence. Does Diana work for Trump? Does Diana work for the billionaires, or does she work for me, her constituent? And he assured me she works for all the people of Tennessee. And so I said, okay, great. Well, then I want an answer. I want an answer from my representative. And I got an answer from Diana shortly later via email, where she did not answer any of my questions about her position on this budget. She didn't answer my questions about whether or not she supported cutting Medicaid and why she voted against amendments that would have secured Medicaid in this budget. Instead, she just gave me some information about how she has supported Medicaid in the past, told me she was so happy to serve the people of Tennessee and thank you so much for reaching out. So I wrote back and I said, this does not answer my question. Can you please tell me if you intend to cut Medicaid? Can you please let me know if you are planning to give billionaires tax cuts? And I got an auto email back that said that the email inbox was not monitored and that I would have to reach out to her staff and call or go back through the contact form on her website. It's very obvious where our Republican leaders stand when constituents are concerned about their health care. They don't respond with answers about the health care and instead just praise themselves for things they've done in the past that are unrelated completely to the topic at hand, and then can't even receive a response from their constituents and have an inbox that just isn't managed. So when you do call your representatives, make sure that you stay informed and make sure you let them know that they are actively working against Medicaid and they are actively working for billionaire tax cuts, and make them answer why. Ask them why they're doing this and how this benefits the American people. And they'll probably give you the same answer that, oh yeah, Medicaid, nah, that won't be cut. That's not even in the budget. But the reality is that the numbers aren't adding up. The math isn't mathing, like AOC said.
There's a fundamental math problem here. There is a constant reiteration of waste, fraud, and abuse. Sure, that's great. What is the identified amount of waste that this committee has identified? Because what the order that's been sent down here is find $880 billion. Not there is $880 billion of waste, fraud, and abuse. It's find $880 billion. And so we have not heard a single concrete number of the amount of waste that's been identified. We have not heard a single concrete number on the amount of abuse that's been identified. And there's just kind of this vague magic wand around waste, to my colleague from California's point. And waste is being used as a very large word here, because what's being suggested is that long-term care is wasteful in America, that children's health insurance is wasteful in America, that poor people seeing the doctor is a waste, that all of these people are disposable, that the elderly are disposable. So I think the problem here is that the numbers don't add up. The numbers don't add up.
Now, I want to recognize that Representative Thomas Massie from Kentucky was the only Republican who voted against this budget. He is conservative. I think he's like libertarian more so. But he did vote no because he was concerned about the budget deficit and how this would just increase our debt. I don't even care what his reasons were. I don't even care if it's economics. The fact that he stood against this when all of the other Republicans wanted it, I think is really big. And shortly after this budget was passed, Donald Trump posted an incredibly disturbing AI-generated video showing Gaza turned into this luxury beach resort for white men. I saw it around 1 o'clock in the morning before I was going to bed, and it made me sick to my stomach. I had a really hard time getting to sleep. I didn't really sleep through the night because it's one of the most horrific things I've seen a president post. Honestly, I'm still very much in shock, and I'm having a hard time articulating how I feel about it.
Donald's coming to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza number one. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza number one.
And just basically gleefully celebrating the idea that Trump could profit off of a genocide. Tens of thousands of Palestinians have been killed. And Trump is posting AI videos about how he wants to just create his own Mar-a-Lago resort, I guess. I have no idea what would possess a person to post this, especially the president. But I can tell you that nobody with a single shred of empathy, compassion, would ever think to make this video, to post this video, to think that this is a good thing, while tens of thousands of Palestinians have been killed, children have lost everything, have lost their lives, lost their family, lost their homes, everything that they know. And instead of talking about how we can help them, Trump wants to just mow it all down and build his own beachside resort. And and sociopathic, psychotic. It's just not okay. It's just not okay. And I do believe that this was an attempt to distract us from what the GOP did to us last night, passing this budget. Because if we can wake up and talk about how much, how angry we are at Trump for posting this AI generated video, then we might not be talking about the fact that they are trying to strip Americans of their health care, the right to a happy, healthy life, and give tax cuts to billionaires for absolutely no reason at all. The last people in America that need help, that need financial assistance, are billionaires and corporations. They have everything they could ever want and need. And for some reason, they're so greedy that they work to lobby to get Trump in and to get their tax cuts because they need more money. And they want Americans to get sicker. They want Americans to get poorer so they can hoard all the wealth. Again, this is not politics. It's not left versus right. This is now 99% versus 1%. And Trump, the Trump administration, his cabinet, all of those GOP members in Congress, they're all working for the 1%, not for the 99%, not for Americans. Now, while all of this is incredibly concerning, we should stay grounded and we should stay hopeful. Medicaid has not been cut, and a lot more has to happen for it to get cut. Now we have to have Senate come up with their idea of what the budget should be, and then they've all got to agree. It's got to pass. It's going to take some time, and that's a good thing because we need it to take some time. Because if they were able to just pass this right through, millions of Americans would be without health care right now. But if we keep pressuring our representatives and we keep bringing awareness to this issue and we keep letting people know that this is not a partisan issue, that every single American wants to live a happy, healthy life, I think all of us are just trying to get by. We're trying to afford eggs. We're trying to make sure our housing is affordable. Some people are trying to have kids. They're trying to go to school. They're trying to achieve their dreams. And most American dreams are pretty basic, I think. We just want to have a nice life. We need to keep pressuring our members of Congress, pressuring our senators, keep the heat on them, let everyone know what's going on, and make your neighbors aware of the fact that this is not a partisan issue. This is not about left, right, blue, red. I want to come together with my fellow red Americans, okay? I'm very left, okay? Very blue. But if you are someone who cares about Americans more than you care about the top 1%, then you would agree with me on this. And there's no reason that the Republicans should have to resist these amendments that would secure Medicare and give us all the security that Americans all over will not lose their health care unless they were actually planning on gutting it. Because the thing is, they didn't say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to save $880 billion. No, they told the committee, hey, you go find $880 billion to cut. And that committee has to go through what they've got and cut it. And the only way to cut it is through these programs that help Americans who might just need it. Americans who are overworked, underpaid, and are working for corporations, for CEOs that have actively lobbied to keep them overworked and underpaid, so that they can make as much money as possible off of the labor of other people. And insist that those people are the parasites. Those people are the waste, fraud, and abuse. The waste, fraud, and abuse is coming from the top. It's coming from the top 1%. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, all of these corporations, these billionaires that just want to see Americans suffer, it seems like. Like, what else would it be for? I'm going to link some resources in the description, some links that you can click to find your representatives, to make your calls, to get scripts, even to have a bot send out your emails for you. Get loud, contact them every single day. Do not leave them alone. And if they make you feel like you're bothering them, you let them know that they work for you. They don't work for Donald Trump. They don't work for billionaires. They work for you. And if they're not representing you, you have the power to vote them out, and you will do so. Let them know that. Do not let them get away with trying to trick you, manipulate you, and lie to you about what they are doing. I live a pretty nice life and I have pretty much everything I need. I don't have health care. I'm not on government assistance. When I have to go to the doctor, I just pay out of pocket, and it just is what it is. But I know that there are millions of Americans that rely on this stuff. They rely on this funding. They need it. People get in a bind. People have a hard time. People get into situations where they just need help. And that is the whole point of these programs and these systems. And I'm wondering why it's more important that we fund tax cuts for billionaires than actually lifting up the American people. By the way, when you give assistance to people in need, when you help feed them and house them and give them health care, they are they were more productive members of society. And they do more with their life. You see less crime. You see less desperation in our society of people trying to get the things that they need by means of crime. You help your entire society by helping everyone. But when you only help the rich, when you only help the billionaires, and you make everyone else suffer, you don't have the world you want to live in. None of us have the world we want to live in, because we want to feel secure. We want to feel safe. We want to feel like we can be taken care of in this situation that we need to be taken care of. It's really just that simple. So I just ask you to really consider making some noise about this and letting people know, and not letting them get away with this, because we need to stop it.